The movie begins in the past with an alien warrior being crushed by a giant beast named Hirudegarn. In the present day, Gohan and Videl do superhero business as the Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 before receiving a call about an elderly man named Hoi attempting to take his own life. After he's saved, he tells the story of a South Galaxy warrior named Tapion, who's been trapped in a music box which nobody, not even Goku, can open. Everyone sets out to track down the Dragon Balls to open it, which they're easily able to do so. As it winds up, Tapion is finally released, before immediately demanding Hoi to send him back, eventually running off to be alone. Trunks and Goten find him at an abandoned building, refusing any kind of service given to him. Later that night, the lower half of Hirudegarn begins destroying the city, calling Gohan and Videl into action. The two narrowly manage to take it down before Tapion arrives and plays a melody on his hero's flute to seal the legs away. The next night, Trunks offers him more food and tries to bond with him before Hoi comes in to steal the flute and attempts to persuade Trunks into giving it to him, which he of course doesn't buy. Hoi flees and Tapion and Trunks bond at home as we learn more about Tapion's history. He describes his brother to him, and how his planet, Konus, was nearly wiped out by Hirudegarn, which also confirms to us that the alien at the beginning of the movie was also Tapion's brother. Bulma sits him down for tea as he explains Hoi's backstory, how an ancient wizard sliced Hirudegarn in two, causing one half to be confined in Tapion, and how he and his brother were sealed inside of their music boxes. The next day, Bulma builds him a chamber so that Tapion can finally sleep before Hirudegarn's lower half is summoned yet again, draining people's life energy, which, okay, that's really disturbing. He eventually loses control and unleashes Hirudegarn's upper half, making him complete. Goku and his sons go Super Saiyan and begin fighting the beast, with Vegeta joining in, only to get thrown into a building for the remainder of the movie. Goten and Trunks fuse in the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and seemingly take down Hirudegarn before he evolves into his more second, insect-like form. Goku continues to give it his all before Tapion plays his melody, managing to seal Hirudegarn in his entirety back within him. In a heartfelt attempt to destroy the beast once and for all, Tapion gives Trunks his sword to kill him, and as he's about to reluctantly do so, his flute is destroyed, and Hirudegarn is freed again, immediately killing Hoi. Goku goes Super Saiyan 3 as a last-ditch effort, as Trunks takes the sword and HOLY SHIT! Goku tells him that only he can handle the beast, and lets out a dragon fist to finally finish Hirudegarn once and for all. The movie ends with Tapion giving a sword to Trunks as a sign of gratitude, and going back to the past in Bulma's time machine. So out of all the new characters introduced in this movie, Hoi was definitely the closest we got to an antagonist. Is he good in that case? Well, I personally like to compare him to Dr. Cochin from The World's Strongest in terms of his role in general enjoyment. Both pretty much just unleash a beast onto the protagonist and are killed in the process. Overall, I found Hoi to be enjoyable, mainly thanks to his extensive backstory, but not much beyond that. As for Hirudegarn, remember how I praised Broly in his first movie for essentially being more beast than person? I feel the same way for Hirudegarn, but this time, it's 100% beast. It's a really unique approach that I really like, especially because it doesn't follow most of the previous movies' established tropes. I mean, yeah, he technically fits into the pissed alien trope, but that's about it. Everything from his design to his origin feels fresh and not like an afterthought. This beast approach is also why I really enjoyed Cell Max in the recent superhero movie. 100% beast, 100% enjoyment. Overall, Hirudegarn, while acting as this ancient Godzilla-type figure to the story, is arguably the most unique antagonist these movies have had since Dr. Wheelo in The World's Strongest. The animation, and I swear to God this is the last time you're ever gonna hear me say this, is at its best across every movie thus far. Nah, I'm just kidding. Fusion Reborn holds that record, but this movie is a very close second in my book. It has about the same level of animation as Broly's Second Coming, which is good, seeing as how the animation was probably the best part of that entire movie. The action is still beautifully animated with some of my favorite bits across any of these movies, but it falls just short of being the best. As for the pacing, it spends the right amount of time it needs to establish the lore surrounding Tapion, Hoi, and Hirudegarn. Not only that, but it also gives the right amount of time to establish a brotherly relationship between Trunks and Tapion. Speaking of Tapion, he's personally one of my favorite characters introduced in any of these movies. Besides a couple we'll get into the next video. I personally like him for some of the reasons I like future Trunks so much. He's a warrior out of his own time, seeking to avenge the people from the dark force that decimated most of them. But he also adds on to those similar traits such as his alien heritage and being able to calm the beast with a flute, resulting in him not feeling like a direct copy of future Trunks that just came from the past instead of the future. To summarize, Tapion is badass, sympathetic, and is one of these movies' most enjoyable characters. Oh, and one more thing. I know people tend to shit on this movie's ending a lot because of Goku taking the spotlight away from Trunks, but I personally don't mind it too much. I mean, yes, this movie primarily focused on Trunks and Tapion as if they were the true protagonists, but Trunks is only a child. He managed to cut off Hirudegarn's tail with the sword, but could he have really done much more than that? Goku finishing him off makes more sense to me because he's realistically stronger than anyone else in the movie. So in conclusion, I don't mind the ending, but I definitely think Trunks should have been more involved in the story. Well, I mean, that wizard managed to slice him in half, but I don't care. I don't mind it either way. Finally, for the score, it's with great relief, but also sadness, that the Japanese original is the best one again. The American score goes back to resembling what came before Fusion Reborn, which sometimes was bad, sometimes was good, and in this movie's case, it's alright. Nothing special, but nothing really bad either. It's just fine. The Japanese score is a lot better because, although it's all original tracks this time around, some of them hold more emotional weight on them, such as when Trunks is about to kill Tapion. It makes the viewer feel their emotions more than the American version, in my opinion. In conclusion, the Japanese dominate yet again, and Wrath of the Dragon gets a 9 out of 10. Despite its one narrative shortcoming, this movie proves to be the freshest out of any of the prior movies, as well as tying with Fusion Reborn to be the second best DBZ movie. And with that, we conclude Z's original run of films, aka the bulk of this marathon. But we're not quite finished yet, as we still have shit